Okay, assalamu alaikum, everybody, and good evening. Thank you for joining us tonight for our first webinar of 2025. We are excited to bring you an informative session on immigration policies. Allow me to start by introducing myself. My name is Umber Zaidi, and I serve as the admin for the ISGH Job Networking Committee. We're a nonprofit committee operating under the ISGH umbrella, dedicated to supporting our community in achieving their professional and educational goals. Our focus includes offering workshops for high school students to help prepare them for college, such as SAT prep boot camps, college resume writing, and communication skills. We also provide professional resume writing and interview preparation services to help individuals excel in their career pursuits. To learn more about our programs, please scan the QR code on the screen, which will take you directly to our website, isgh.org/networking. Now let's move on to tonight's program. It is our privilege to welcome our esteemed guest speaker, Ms. Misbah Chaudhry. Ms. Chaudhry is a highly experienced immigration attorney specializing exclusively in immigration law. Her expertise spans employment and family-based immigration, removal proceedings, asylum, waivers, labor certifications, and various immigrant and non-immigrant visa petitions. She has extensive experience working with immigration courts, the Department of Homeland Security, the Department of Labor, the Department of State, and ICE. We are truly honored to have her with us tonight to share her insights. Welcome, Ms. Chaudhry.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum to all the listeners and viewers, and happy Saturday evening. Today, our focus is on to discuss two things in detail. Number one thing will be immigration policies, which we are looking forward to with the new administration, and what can be the consequences and implementation of those changes in immigration. Now, immigration constitutes of family immigration, remote proceedings, and employment-based immigration, where people from all around the world they enter United States and they can work in the working capacity and they can have a life in the United States as their family lives here and can have a family law under family status over here. So we will start with our slide, and we'll see that how we are going to cover the programs, like what are the main uh, things or main issues which are seemingly being affected by the new administration, and how it can be helpful in certain ways. So let's start with the slide, Amber, and let's go to our slides. So we'll go to the first slide, and we will try to explain what is DACA. Elimination of the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals DACA program. So how and what the current coming government is stating about their implementation on the people who are here under DACA. The future of the DACA program remains uncertain due to the pending litigation, and President-elect Trump tried to eliminate DACA during his first term. Over 500,000 DACA recipients would lose protected status if it is eliminated. DACA is the program that was implemented through an executive order in June 2012 for children who entered the US by crossing the border illegally, and protecting certain undocumented immigrants who were brought to the US as children from remote proceedings and receive authorization to work for renewable 2 years periods. Previously, Trump administration has tried to close DACA program through the court system and will try to eliminate it again. So the most talked about issue right now is with regards to the DACA recipients, because again and again, the coming government administration is saying that they are against the DACA program, because the kids mostly who qualify under DACA, they are the one who have entered illegally to the United States or have lately overstayed through the adult parents, or or the participants who got them into the United States. Next slide. So, to explain what is DACA, who qualifies for DACA initially. To qualify for DACA, you must be under 31 years as of June 15th, 2012, have arrived in the US before age 16, have continuously resided in the US since June 15th, 2007 until filing, be physically present in the US on June 15th, 2012, and at the time of the filing when the law was implemented, have had no lawful immigrant status on June 15th, 2012, or at the time of the filing. That is, if they have entered United States through border illegally, we call them EWI, entry without inspection, or have entered legal but have overstayed during the passage of time and have not maintained any immigrant status in the United States, be enrolled in schools, graduate, obtain a GED, or be an honorably discharged veteran, not have felon or significant misdemeanor convictions or three or more other misdemeanors, and not pose a threat to the national security or public safety. So it's clear from this slide that the DACA recipient who were eligible or who qualify for the DACA position, they should not have any criminal charge, felony or multiple misdemeanor on them. They must be educated. School education can be to the level of graduate, obtain a GED, or be an honorably discharged veteran. So their vetting start at that point. So before even giving them the status, their vetting starts at the main points that which guys are eligible to qualify under DACA. So a recent health coverage to DACA is under litigation in several states. So first, they questioned the DACA recipients. This kind of visa, which was issued to the DACA recipients, a deferred stay to stay in the United States. And initially, they were talking about leading it to the green card, which was stopped and litigated at several levels. Now, also, the health coverage to the DACAs has been litigated in several states, and it's an open issue currently, right now, even with the current administration. Next slide. So changes to the public charge policy. The most discussed threat right now are the people, the most highly concerned, what people talk about, what organizations are threatened about is if there will be changes to the public charge policy. Now, I want to clear during our conversation that it's all speculations. We do not know right now what will be on the president's table, which he's talking about that he's going to sign 100 executive orders. How many executive orders will be about immigration? So there are so many, all of these changes which we are speculating that they are going to happen and how they can affect the people who are living in the United States, their lives, their future, their jobs, their employment. So, discussing the changes to the public charge policy, President-elect Trump may reinstate, so it's a may, reinstate public charge policy changes from his first term, which creates fear and misinformation among immigrant families about accessing health coverage and other services. Federal officials can deny entry to the US or adjustment to the lawful permanent resident status, that is a green card, if they consider someone a public charge. So, if you remember that initially in the previous Trump administration, they implemented this public charge policy, and there were so many changes that happened at the level of internally while doing the adjustment of status to the green card for the people who were present in the United States at that time and applying for the adjustment, or the people who were trying to enter on a green card status as an immigrant from other countries all around the world to the United States. In 2019, President elect Trump expanded the definition to include non cash assistance programs like Medicaid and CHIP. Research shows that this raises concerns about immigrant families, about participation in these programs, and seeking essential services, including healthcare. One in four undocumented immigrant adults avoid applying for food, housing, or healthcare assistance due to the immigration fears. So, this has previously happened also. that when this public charge policy was implemented, people were scared to even ask for the general help, which as a human being they should be open to, they should be provided. And they were open, not they were hesitant, they were not open, they were not willing to apply or to put themselves into the open, so they can be questioned about it. Next slide. So enhanced strategies for the interior enforcement. What we are talking about a lot, what we are listening a lot with regards to the coming administration is their enhanced strategies for the interior enforcement, how they are going to enforce these restrictions, or these bans interiorly, not exteriorly, interiorly first, for the people who are living in the United States. They are in status or they are out of status, what kind of implementations they are talking about. President elect Trump is determined to implement mass detentions and deportations of millions of immigrants, which will result in family separations and harm mental and physical health. He plans to declare a national emergency and use the US military to deport undocumented immigrants, including long term residents. So, here we are talking about people who are living here for 30 years, 20 years, 15 years, 10 years. They have their kids over here. The kids are US citizens, and they don't know any other country. They don't know about any other place. They work here, their employments are here, their future is here, their household is here. So research shows that such a tactic leads to family separations, negative health outcomes, and significant financial hardships due to the job losses. Studies by the Kaiser Family Foundation has highlighted that Trump's prior immigration policies increased fear and stress among immigrant families, impacting the health of their US born children. Their assertive approach will profoundly affect immigrant community, sorry, at nationwide at large. So it's not going to just affect the people who are illegal here, or the people who are working in different fields, in different industries, in different healthcare, in construction, in so many places, in so many industries. It's not going to just affect those people. It's going to have a large lasting effect on financials. It's going to large lasting effect on the job market. It's going to have large lasting effect on the US born children, who will be directly affected psychologically, physically, health wise, medically, for all of these implementations. Next slide. So now we'll talk about briefly about the effect of the mass deportation on the US economy. So how it's going to affect the US economy if we get started with this mass deportation idea. Immigrants have similar rates of employment as their US born counterparts and play outside role in certain occupations such as agriculture, construction, and healthcare. Research has found that immigrants do not displace US born workers and help foster job growth through entrepreneurship and the consumption of goods and services. Further, federal data shows that the unemployment rates for the US born workers have not decreased between 2022 and year 2023 and have remained similar to those for the immigrant workers. Undocumented immigrants pay billions of dollars in federal, state, and local taxes each year. Mass deportation of immigrants could lead to number one, workforce shortage in key sectors. Number two, negative economic consequences. Number three, an increase in the cost of essential goods such as groceries. So it's funny for me because now we have been talking about, oh, it's so much, recession is coming and everything is so pricey and the prices are going up. So thinking about all of these things, what we have been talking about previously, what kind of effect these mass deportation can have on groceries? Just a simple thing, the necessity of life for all living beings, for all human beings. So how it's going to affect, whether it's going to affect or not, yes, it's going to be have a long lasting effect on the basic living standards of people. And as this slide shows, that the people who are working here, who are part of the workforce in the United States, in all 50 states, in all the industries involved. And if they are removed from here, it will have a great impact on the economy of the United States. Next slide. Effect of mass deportation on U.S. economy. So we elaborate further that how it's going to affect further in this different scenarios. Housing cost. Research shows a clear link between immigration and rising housing cost. But economists insist that immigration is not the main cause. Mass deportations will worsen housing shortages as immigrants are a vital part of the construction workforce. Workplace raids will intensify labor shortage and harm local economies. Medical trust funds. Undocumented immigrants are crucial to the Medicare trust funds. Insolvency would occur sooner without their contributions. They also positively impact the financial stability of Social Security. Taxpayer money, large scale detention and deportation efforts will incur significant cost for taxpayers. Immigrants are essential to the US economy, filing critical role in agriculture, construction, and healthcare. Work shortage. They do not displace native workers, but drive job creation through entrepreneurship and increased demand for goods. Federal data clearly shows that unemployment rates have remained stable for both groups, that is, legal and illegal immigrants, from 2022 to 2023. Now, just imagine the scene: you are passing by on a road, on a street, in Texas, especially, there is construction going on everywhere. So when you look at the construction site, who are the people you see over there? These are the people who are the builders. These are the people who are doing the labor work over there, who are building these buildings, these large houses, buildings, these malls, shopping plazas for us. So just imagine another change of scenario. And the next scenario is that all of a sudden these structures are still standing there, but there is nobody working there. There are fields there where are the corn fields, where there are orange trees, orchards, so many fruits, vegetables, grains that we grow, corns that we grow, that are the basic source of food and energy for the human beings and other animals and other living beings. All of a sudden, the people who are working on them just vanished. What will happen? So all of this material will go bad. There will be no workers available over there, or less workers available over there. The people who own these places, the builders, the agriculturists, the farmers, they are going to lose all the money which they have already invested over there. And there will be no food in the grocery stores, less food in the grocery stores. And that will cause a big problem, because the grocery prices will go up. We won't be able to have to nourish our family members, because the less food is available, less food material is available. Next um, slide. So restrictions on the humanitarian protection. Now, this is also they are talking about a lot. When we talk about DACA, when we talk about asylum claims, when we talk about the petitions which are filed from the people, or about the people who are not in status, U visa, victim of violence, VAWA petitions, asylum applications, DACA, TPS, then we are talking about the work authorizations. When these people, the petitions are filed for them, after a certain period of time, fulfilling the requirement, they are issued the work authorization. We call them EAD cards. They are issued the work authorization, where they can go in the market, find a job, and legal job. They have the social security issued. They have the work authorization cards. They can go and be a useful person in the society, be a useful person in the market, in the industry, where their services can be utilized. So, what will happen if they are talking about the restriction on humanitarian protections? President elect Trump is poised to implement strict restrictions on the humanitarian migrant entry into the US during his second term. He plans to reduce refugee admissions, which is asylee claims, eliminate the CBP 1 application for asylum seekers, and resolve temporary protected status TPS for specific countries. So TPS is allowed to certain countries, not widely all around the world. Like asylum claim is allowed all country nationalities. They are allowed if they enter United States and they claim under 5 grounds that they have fear of going back, fear of persecution going back to their country, and they qualify under those 5 grounds of claim, they can apply for asylum in the United States. But for the TPS, certain countries are allowed under certain conditions to apply under TPS, which is the temporary protected status in the United States. Is kind of a deferred action, which also allows to work on the work authorization, that is EAD card, have the social security, and they can work in the industry field and can go to school and complete their education. Having previously set the refugee admissions ceiling at a historic low of 18,000 in 2020, Trump aims to restore tighter limits despite the Biden administration increase to 65,000 in 2021. Closing the CBP-1 application will likely result in mass appointment cancellations and more unauthorized border crossing. Additionally, Trump intends to abolish TPS, which currently protects over 860,000 immigrants from deportation. This move will heighten deportation risk, leading to family separations that threaten the well being of those affected and pose significant challenges for the workforce and economy. Again, I've said before, it will have direct implementation, direct effect, direct impact on workforce and economy. These people, just think about 860,000 immigrants who have been issued the work authorization. They are working in several industries involved directly to science and technology. It's involved in medical field. It's involved in construction areas. It's involved in finance. It's involved in artificial intelligence. So many. They are smart people. And when given the opportunity and when given the proper education, they can become a very strong source of strong economy to the United States. And that's role what they are playing currently. So sending them back or putting a restriction on them or saying that, oh, we are just going to send you back. We are just stopping the TPS thing and we are just sending you back is going to implement directly hard on the workforce or on the financial sector of the United States. So we'll go to the next slide. Ending birthright citizenship. Now it's much talked about topic. What new administration is saying that, oh, we are going to put an end to this. The people, the children who are born to the people who are illegal in the United States, or whose entry is illegal, these kids, these children, they are born in the United States, they will not be given this right. So what it says specifically, it says that President-elect Trump plans to sign an executive order ending birthright citizenship for certain immigrant children, undermining a constitutional right. This move will, number one, limit healthcare access for these children. Number two, worsen labor shortage in the critical or crucial healthcare sector. So, of all this discussion, these moves, the future administration is talking about, is going to directly hit the labor shortage, directly hit our workforce, is going to directly hit the industries who are depending a lot on these thousands and thousands and millions of these people who are actively participating, working in different fields and industry, paying taxes, and these taxes are being utilized towards the health factors and other things, and being utilized by the US citizens, by the permanent resident, by the people living over here, and is becoming the part of the economy. Next slide. So reinstatement of remain in Mexico policy. So this policy was introduced by the Trump administration previously, and they put some restrictions on the people who were trying to enter United States, and restrain them on the Mexico border, and how they are going to trying to reinstate this policy again. So the Biden administration ended this policy in 2022 following some legal challenges, although it's implemented a series of increasingly restrictive limits on the asylum eligibility in 2023 and 2024 in response to a high number of border encounters. So he also has indicated that he will, number one, deploy the National Guards, as well as active duty military personnel if needed to the US Mexico border. Although details of the plan remains unclear, then reinstate the remain in Mexico border policy, posing significant risk for the asylum seekers, initially implemented in 2019. Trump plans to revive these harsh protocols and deploy the National Guard and active duty military to the border will increase fear among immigrant families. Additionally, using military funds for border security raises serious legal and ethical concerns about community safety and human rights. So, previously, when this was implemented, there were thousands of children who got separated from the parents, and it became a big human rights issue. With the Human Rights Commission, with the Amnesty, and the other organizations which are directly involved in implementing these kind of resources for the human rights basis. So that can cause another big problem if it's implemented. That will cause a serious and severe problem for to the Family Unity Act, where we are trying to unify the families where they will be able to live together. Next slide. Effect of the legal immigration. So now we have talked about um, what can be the speculations about the changes in the immigration laws, how it's going to be affecting the people whose entries are illegal or the people who have overstayed in the United States. All the bad and negative impacts we have talked about, how it's going to affect the economy, how it's going to affect the job workforce commission, workforce source, where people, thousands and thousands of millions of people are part of our workforce, and they are able to work, they are able to run our industries, and they are able to generate income, and they are able to pay taxes on which the whole country economy runs. So now what kind of effect there can be of legal immigration? How, see, uh, in US, legal immigration and illegal immigration goes hand in hand. As the illegal immigration goes on, the legal immigration, where people are applying through visas, entering United States, coming on the work visas, coming on the family based visas, entering United States, living here, coming on the student visas. The students, lots of thousands and thousands of students get admissions into the US institutes and universities and colleges to become a part of this nation, to become a part of the education system in the United States. How it's going to impact that, how it's going to affect on the legal immigration. So there can be increase in the legal entries in the United States, which is a very good thing. So people will, if there are more restrictions on the border, people will be more positive to enter legally into the United States, which, believe me, millions and millions of people do all year long. Increase in the number of visas issued at the US consulate to increase tourism and to let people enter the United States from all around the world and become a part of a strong economy and workforce. So one of the very positive side which I think about and which I feel is that they should increase the number of the visas issued to people from all around the world who want to come to the US to study, to find jobs, to become part of the economy over here, to have their family raised here. And definitely when they're coming, they will work, they can do businesses, and they can enhance the economy and boost the economy of the United States. Changes in the visa extension policies to be done within the United States to increase um, the workability of the workers on various work visas, and to lessen the workload and delays at the US consulates around the world under the pilot project program 2025. So they are already talking about it. Department of Homeland Security, if you visit their website, they are already talking about it. So this, they are talking about the pilot project program 2025. Sorry, what they are talking about is that, oh, maybe you don't have to go outside to change your status or get the visa and come inside again, or if you are applied for under H1B, or if you are under any other kind of work visa, you are on the E2, you are on investment visas, you are on L1A visas. These are the intra-company visas where you can work here. You are on H2B, you are on H2A. You can stay in the United States and you can extend your stay right here, which you can do right now also. But in the long run, there is a certain limit to that, which under the pilot program, they are thinking about changing. So there are more opportunities available to keep this workforce in the United States instead of them going and not being able to come back. And you see, this has happened a lot due to the visa backlog and the backlog of the interviews in the US consulates and embassies around the world, that the people who have exited previously were unable to come back. These people, they are doctors, engineers, lawyers, and, engineers, and educationists, and bankers, and workforce, all these constructors, and all of these people who can be so resourceful for our country to enhance the economy of the country, to become part of the workforce. Next slide. So, what is pilot project? As I was saying, pilot project can decrease the load on the US consulates and embassies around the world for conducting interviews, and can increase the productivity and issuance of the visas in family-based cases and in employment-based cases. So a lot of questions which I get, where people have applied for their families. They are stuck outside. Their immigrant visas have been filed. National Visa Center has processed everything. Department of State has already completed and processed everything. And they are just waiting there, sitting there, which is so sad that they are sitting there waiting for the interview. And they are in such a severe backlog with all these previous policies and with the pandemic that happened and the halt happened, that they are waiting for 3 to 4 years or 2 to 3 years to even get their interview date. So this pilot project is going to help them in overcoming this kind of situation. Next slide. So employment based green card opportunities to the F1 student. This is my close to my heart subject, and I talk about it a lot. And I'm really thankful to the students from all around the world who take this pledge, who take this opportunity, who take this hardship to come to this country, to become part of the institutes, the very honorable institutes, to become part of the professions. They put their energy in there, they put their hard work in there, and they should be given every opportunity to find a job in the United States. When they are studying in United States, we should not lose them. We should retain them because their education is here. We should provide them the jobs, we should retain them, we should do the green card things for them. They should be given the opportunity to get the permanent resident status in the United States, which should lead to the US citizenship. So, giving the F1 international students more opportunities to get employment based green cards upon completion of their studies within the USA, and to avail the knowledge and education in the field of intelligence, technology, science, arts, and industry to be utilized directly in the US organizations and government sector, and to enhance the horizon of the USA. They are our future, they are our workforce, and we need them here. So, my personal uh, understanding of this administration is that if they are putting restriction, or they should do that if they are putting restrictions on the illegal entries, they should enhance and they should enlarge the opportunity for the international students, for the international workers, to have the opportunity in all fields of life, in all the industries, to have jobs in there, and that can lead to their permanent stay in the United States. Next slide. So we will come to the conclusion before we go towards any question and answers that our listeners have and viewers have. So my conclusion, take it as my conclusion, is that the immigration attorneys and organization around the United States are currently guessing the speculations and ideas as stated by the incoming administration and what we conclude out of this. So if it's me, if any other my colleagues, immigration attorneys, big organization, immigrant serving organization, and they are all speculating. They are all thinking what is going to happen. It's all in the air. We are listening to several things, but it's all in the air. Nothing has been signed or implemented as of yet. We are just guessing. These are our wide guess or our bright positive guess that we are trying to do. Impact can be negative and can be positive. America needs people and a strong economy. People are the force that contributes towards any great nation in the world, among which the USA is the one. It's a great nation. The illegal flow should alternatively be compensated with the legal immigration workforce flow in the United States. We should, in turn, have a strong impact on our economy and living standards. So, my understanding, my conclusion is that work should be become available to the people who are present in the United States. We have 50 states. There is lots of industries. There are lots of work. We need educated people. We need workforce. We need people who are skilled workers, who are professionals, who are not skilled workers, who can be part of different industries and can become join their hands together and can increase the economy, enhance the economy, and can be very good for the US future and for our children. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Chaudhry. That was, as usual, a very enlightening presentation. We truly we truly appreciate your time and your expertise.
Thank you.
We'll take a few moments right now to address some of the questions that we had received from our audience through email and through chat. One of our guests had asked, they have an L1B visa. They had
Mhm.
an L1B visa until 2023, and then they got an H1B visa before it expired, before the L1B expired. But their H1B visa is stamped in their home country and is pending. This person has to travel to Canada for testing and inspection in the middle of March for 10 days. They also have a valid Canadian business visa. So can they go and come back under automatic validation program, even though no valid H1B stamping, but a holding valid, even though no valid H1B stamping, but holding valid passport and 1797?
See, on 797 is the approval notice. They have an approval, but no stamping of H1B has been done. This is my understanding from the question. So currently, they are still holding on the L1B status, and they have the Canadian entry also. So, in my understanding, as I've understood the question, they are not. They are still under L1B status, so they can enter Canada as an L1B or as a Canadian entry, but H1B, as it is not stamped, though it's approved, but it's not stamped on the passport. So still their status will show as L1B.
Okay. I hope that helps the viewer. And if you have any more queries, you can always reach out to her office. The other question we had was, will Trump policies affect the timeframes of H1B and EB categories?
Okay, so what he's talking about right now, what his administration is talking about, they seems to be pro H1B. They seems to be pro EB. What they are saying is that, oh, we are trying to make the priority date current for all the countries. So, it's not as per the visa bulletin, it's different. The priority dates are different for different countries as per the load of the people or the petitions that has been filed in the employment sector for them for as employment based green card process. So we are hoping that it is positively going to affect the H-1B, like I've talked about the pilot program earlier, that they are trying to implement, and they are talking about it, and it's already been showing on the uscis.gov website that they are trying to implement this pilot project program under which they will allow like H-1B, like EB program to adjust their status within United States, which will save them a lot of time of going through the hassle of the visa interviews or going through the consulate. So definitely what I'm expecting is it's going to help the timeline for H-1Bs and the EB candidates.
Okay, great. Another question is that if I am working with company A and they have filed an H1 amendment, it's in progress. I got my job offer from another company. Can my H1 transfer while my amendment with company A is in progress?
You can file for the H-1B transfer
Okay,
while your amendment is still pending, but you cannot go and work for that company until your H-1B transfer will be approved.
okay. And is there a pathway from L1 visa to green card?
Yes. So if you are on the L1A, there are two kinds of categories, L1A and L1B. L1A category, your employer, like your company, which has petitioned you for the L1A, can directly apply for the green card for you through the L1B. So L1A is not the issue. You work with the ABC company. The ABC company first did the L1A for you, and then the ABC company applied for the green card for you. No problem. The problem or the issue comes or the questions come with the L1B, because if you are an L1B status, your company needs to go through the whole labor certification process and can still apply for you, can still apply the green card for you, or any other company who can go through the labor certification process through the Department of Labor, then go to employment based green card thing, I-140, 485, can do the green card process for you. But the labor certification is involved if you are on L1B status.
Okay. And another question is that if I am on an OPT and marrying a citizen, what is the process to apply for a green card and what is the best recommendation?
Okay, the best thing is maintain your F1 status. So OPT is F1. F1 extension, OPT is the extension of F1, right? So underlying your status is one. You are a student and you are given the opportunity which you can avail, which is in the form of OPT. So the best thing to do is that you can apply for the green card. You are present in United States, your spouse who is a US citizen, she can file the family based petition for you, and the adjustment of status on, you can file adjustment of status based on that. But until you get the green card in your hands, my recommendation, maintain your non-immigrant status. So maintain your OPT, maintain your F1 until you get the green card through F1 via F1 to through spouse until you get the green card in your hands.
Okay. Now we have a question from someone who is a US citizen. They recently had their nikah, and they are asking if you are anticipating any changes to the spousal visa application process. And because they're trying to figure out the quickest way to bring their spouse here.
No, I'm not, and I'm not expecting that they are going to touch that that because it's a big scenario which can upset so many US citizens. So they are not going to I think so try to make the changes or try to make any things which can affect other than what they have previously talked about or what they have done about the public charge thing. So be careful about this, because we are that's what I'm hoping that they are going to implement again, that if you have taken any public you have become a public charge and you have taken any benefits, how it's going to impact you as a sponsor when you are sponsoring your spouse, because you are the US citizen and the spouse is outside the country, or if either inside the country and you are filing for the adjustment. Other than that, I am not expecting any kind of changes in that. Yeah, maybe the timeline will improve when they will lessen the load for so many work visas to go through the consulate. So if the family based petition is going through the consulate process, it will lessen the interview workload, and there will be more rapid interviews conducted in this situation. So previously I'm talking about and many of you must have remembered this, that the when you are filing for the family based green card for your spouses, 10 to 11 months your spouse can be in United States. If you're filing the fiance visa, if a US citizen is filing for the fiance visa, 4 to 5 months the fiance is in the United States. So I'm hoping that it will go back to this scenario when the load will lessen with the work visa and stuff and the interviews and all of this. So I'm thinking positive about it.
Okay, great. And do you think that the sibling category F4 is likely to improve in terms of its timeline?
I'm a doubts in it because there is so many pending cases, millions of pending cases in this category which are sitting there. So when
Okay.
also in the same thing, previously it was the sibling petition was getting completed in 9 to 10 years roughly, which has now increased to 14 to 15 years until the family members or siblings get the interview at the relevant embassies. So I don't see a very quick change in that timeline. It may take time to come to that, but it may be it's a long time. I think so. It will take maybe roughly 2 to 3 years to come back to even to the previous level of 9 to 10 years.
Okay, that makes sense. Is there any anticipated impact to the naturalization process? This person is on a green card and is looking to apply for citizenship this year.
See, when we apply for the citizenship, and many of us don't realize that. So when you are here, any person, if it's me, anybody else who is applying for the citizenship, anyways, there are 3 4 factors which are considered by the DHS, by the Department of Homeland Security. Um, are you do you don't have a criminal charge on you? It has been settled. There are dismissals. There are dispositions. Everything is fine with you. You are not behind in the child support. You are paying your taxes. So many factors get involved when they look into your citizenship application. Other than that, which are already implemented and which are already they consider those factors. Other than that, I do not see any sudden change in the citizenship applications or when you are applying for the citizenships.
Okay, great. And will it be difficult to get a TN visa after the Trump administration comes in?
This is a complicated question. With all the things going on, conversations going on between Canada and America, I don't know how they are going to change the policy or if there going to be any change in the policy, US policy towards Canadian citizens. But for right now, I am not expecting any change. We need TN workers in the United States, and I don't see any problem in there. They should not, I don't think so. That they are going to touch that sector. So we'll be
Okay,
fine. No problem.
great. We're just going to take about 3 more questions. Someone is asking, they are in Canada on a work visa and they've gotten married to a US citizen. Prior to their wedding, they had applied for a tourist visa and now their appointment is coming up in October. So is there a chance to get the approval or will they still have to go through spousal immigration? Or should
Can
they
you
continue?
repeat the question, Amber?
Um, so prior to their marriage, this person had applied for a tourist visa so
All
that they
right.
could visit the US. And that appointment is now coming up in October. So is there a chance to get approval through the tourist visa or should they still go or should they go through the spousal route?
Okay. So when we apply for anyone, when we apply for the visa for US, we fill up the DS 160 form. They are talking about the visit visa, so I'm mentioning the DS 160 form. Um, on the DS 160 form, there are certain questions they ask. Are you married? Are you unmarried? All of these things. If the interview is conducted and the visa is issued, and then the marriage happens, then you are not misrepresenting or you are not giving any false information on your DS 160 form, right? But when the condition change, you applied for the DS 160, but then in between that time you got married, your interview is not done. Now your interview is coming up, so the condition has changed. So I don't think so that you should not. I think so you should disclose that, either by refiling the DS-160 form or at the interview. You need to disclose this to the officer and tell them that I have not yet still filed for the immigrant petition and we want to move forward and, to visit United States and have the visit visa. So, but do not please misrepresent, or do not please give any wrong information, because they can figure out and that can put a bar on your application for the future.
Okay. Somebody had also asked that can you change your immigration lawyer? And is it a good idea to do so before your final immigration hearing?
You can always change your immigration lawyer. If you're not happy or there's a certain conditions, you change the state. There can be so many things that you want to change your immigration lawyer. You can do that. But the second part of the question is that is it wise that to change your immigration attorney close to your individual hearing? Now, this I have my kind of restraints on that, because when one attorney is working on your case, he knows or she knows in and out of your case, and stepping towards the individual hearing, which is the biggest hearing, which is the main hearing in your case, which is going to decide the fate of your case. I think so. It's not advisable to change the attorney at that time very close to the individual hearing. But if in other circumstances, if that attorney is not available, or if you are very certain to change the attorney, yes, you can do that. There is no restriction on this.
Okay, great. Thanks. Just do we have time for just a couple of more questions?
Sure, sure.
Okay, great. I'm going to try to decipher this question best I can. There is a client change, but they're working for the same company. Do they need to file an amendment? And also, is the amendment required if they are working from home?
Okay. So the amendment, basically, when they say the amendment, it's not about the project change. It's the same employer, the same petitioner you are working, you who is holding your H-1B. The amendment is usually filed when the work location changes, right? So if your work location stays the same, preferably it should not be home, it should be the office location or some project location which you are giving on your LCA, labor condition application. But if it's home and there are with certain restrictions or with certain kind of points, it is allowed to work from home. Like for the long distance, they used to work, they work from home, and the LCA is asking that, oh, we can give the home address. Then you do not need to file the amendment. The amendment is filed with the change of work location.
Okay, great. And if a green card has been filed, but it's has a long backlog, can a U.S. senator help in pushing it through?
Yes,
There
I've
are.
heard many stories about this, that, oh, our representative in our area, they are willing to help us. And many senators and, the House of the representatives, they have in their offices the separate immigration department. So where they do push and where they do help and, help a lot and support a lot in this system. So if you have any help which you are waiting for, you can contact them, no problem. But it's not that they can change the timeline or they can instantly get you approval in that. Also, I want to add in there about the writ of mandamus. I have got lots of questions. It is related to this also, that I got a lot of questions about writ of mandamus. Oh, other attorneys are saying that we can rush up the process and we'll do the writ of mandamus in your matter, which is out of the processing time, and then it will be approved. No, there is no guarantee that if you file for the writ of mandamus, and if you are still in the processing time, you cannot file the writ of mandamus. It's not going to help you. Number two, if you are out of the processing time and you file the writ of mandamus, it's not always that it will end up in an approval. It can end up in a denial. It can end up in the explanation from the DHS that they cannot expedite it. So keep in mind, this is very important to keep in mind when we talk about the writ of mandamus as well.
Okay, great. And our final question for tonight is, what is the complete time frame to complete an EB3 skilled category these days?
Okay, it's tough to give a certain time period that, oh, and for every country, It's different. So country of chargeability is very important. Priority dates are very important. How they are working, which country you belong to, country of origin, from which country native you are. That is very important because it helps in deciding and defining the priority dates for you, and the visa, the processing time depends on the priority dates. So yes, for currently, for right now, and there was a huge dip in the during the year 2023 for even countries other than India, other than China, other than Mexico, Philippines. There was a large dip in the processing time for the people who applied under the employment based green card process, and which usually was between can be between, so depending on the kind of the application, depending on the kind of petition which has been filed, because under EB categories, there are so many subcategories. Usually the timeline was between, say, roughly 18 to 24 months, and then it gets dipped down to roughly 3 to 3.5 years. So for right now, this is the timeline which is going on right now, and we are hoping, I'm very positive about this, that with the changes that will happen, which I'm expecting. I don't know what will happen, but which I'm expecting will drastically decrease the processing time, and will increase the stepping up and completion of the employment based green card cases.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer so many questions. I really appreciate that you took your time out this evening and helped us and our community. To everyone who joined us this evening, thank you for taking the time out of your evenings as well. We sincerely hope you found this session informative and beneficial. If you have any additional questions or need further assistance, please don't hesitate to reach out to Ms. Chaudhry's office at lawoffices@misbahchaudhry.com. I've also put this email in our chat. Also, her website is www.misbahchaudhry.com, MISBAHCHAUDHRY.com. We'd also love to stay connected with you. Follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube for updates on our programs and events. And additionally, feel free to email us with suggestions for future topics. You can help shape our upcoming sessions. We do have a webinar next week as well, next Saturday, about how to become a medical interpreter. And so make sure you join us. Once again, thank you for attending and have a wonderful evening. Assalamu alaikum.
Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum.